Uh, Good evening, ma'am. Thanks for joining us today.
Good evening. Happy Sunday.
I wish you the best, ma'am.
Mm. Yeah, just wait for people to join, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Good evening, team. Good evening, everyone.
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. Let's just mute our microphone and just wait for like 5 minutes for other people to join before we start the section. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you everyone for joining today. I can see we have a very good number already. So yesterday we talked about migration. So Madam Titi walked us through on how to perform an IMAP migration. And if you followed up with the class or you watched the recording, we created the Zoho Workplace trial account yesterday that we used for the IMAP migration. So let me just remind us again, for the prerequisites we need for Zoho Workplace. Number one, we need an admin access to Zoho Mail account, which yesterday Madam Titi walked us through on how we could create a trial account for Zoho Workplace. And also, you need to enable IMAP for all the mailboxes that is to be migrated. And you need the credentials of the users that you are migrating. And also, the prerequisite for Microsoft 365 is a valid M365 subscription. Mailbox created is in Exchange Online for users to be migrated, and administrator access to Exchange Admin Center. So today, Madam Titi is going to be taking us to the next stage and the next level in Exchange Online. Yesterday was really refreshing. Like I learned a lot, and I know we all learned a lot. In our WhatsApp group, the yesterday slide was made available by our mentor. Let's appreciate her for that. That's a wonderful one. Like, and she also dropped a user guide, a guide containing all the steps and everything she did yesterday. So if you want to implement it, it's more or less like a great advantage. A great advantage. Like you don't need to stress yourself. Just go to the slide, step one, step two, step three, and you get it working. And we have our mentor in the house today. So she's already sharing her screen. Thank you, Madam Titi. You have the floor, ma'am.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining us from. And welcome to this evening's session. I hope, like Oyimafu said, I hope we were able to take something out of yesterday's session. And I also want to implore us to ensure we download the various guides that has been shared with us, and then try your hands on. That's really try your hands on how to do all of these things. When you try your hands on, most of the time the knowledge sticks better, and you can take it anywhere or make use of it from anywhere and at any time. Yes, the knowledge is already ours, and no one can take that away from us. The only thing that is left is for us to unlearn it at some point, relearn it, and make use of it again. So that's it. All right. So I hope my voice is clear. Is it clear, Oyimafu?
Yes, ma, it's clear, very clear.
All right. And we can all see my screen, right?
I can see your screen from my end.
All right. Thank you very much. So before we start, we did a few show and tell yesterday. I just want to check quickly what the result of that is. Remember that before we went, what we did was to quickly log in here and check what was the status. As I did yesterday, we had a status. Can somebody recall what was the status that we had here yesterday before we call it a day? Type in the chat box. I want to be sure that you were paying attention. If you recall what was the status of this our batch from yesterday? People were not with me. I guess I was just talking to myself. Or did I lose you guys yesterday? I didn't communicate at all. Okay, no problem. So the status that we saw yesterday, yes, thank you. It said failed with synced with error. That was the status, synced with error. And when we opened the batch, we were able to see here that it said 0 of 2 synced and 2 of 2 failed, and 0 of 2 finalized and 2 failed. That was what we saw yesterday. And going a bit deeper by clicking the hyperlink or breadcrumb under there to open it up, we were able to see another message that says the users, it says we could not access, the IMAP was disabled for the user, right? And we said that error was as a result of us starting the migration batch before we enable IMAP from the users for each of the users' mailboxes at the source environment. So this is just to tell you that the mailbox migration succeeded, and we can even go as far as logging into some of those mailboxes. Let's see, what was the password? Did they even give us password yesterday? We have who was that? Paul and David. So we're just going to go into David's mailbox, David's room. We reset the password because I can't remember what was the password I set yesterday. Anyway, create password automatically. No need to reset. Let's see. I have a password. I'm wrapping my head. Mm. Okay. So just reset and quickly log into David's room's mailbox. Let me open the browser. Yeah. Mm. David.room at our domain.com.ng. Okay, while this is loading, let's quickly, because it might be the mailboxes that we're going to use at the end of the day. Then we did David and Paul, right? Paul. just set, oh, sugar, wrong password, wrong account. Supposed to be Paul. I just set the same password for them. Okay, so go back into the other mailbox. Excuse those. Says Outlook. Okay. All right. So you can see the emails here. These were email that was sent from SOHO itself after creation of the mailboxes. And these are the email that were sent back and forth yesterday just to have some content in the mailbox and not leave it empty. All right, so that shows that our migration yesterday succeeded. So now moving on to the topic of today. Okay. Now today we are going to be talking about advanced mailbox migration. We did a bit of that in our basic class or beginner class, where we were able to create mailboxes. I think we assigned a few permissions here and there, and then we're going to take that a bit further. Today, we'll see how to manage mailboxes in terms of, there are others and there are a whole lot of settings when it comes to managing mailbox in Office 365. We'll get to see some of those, and we can on our own explore more, right, as we grow in our career, right? So after let me see, what is on the agenda we have, we're going to look at again the various mailbox types, the most, let me say the most common ones. There are more than these. We have more than users shared, resource or archive mailboxes. We have group mailboxes, which other mailboxes there? But we're just going to talk about these four today. And we will move from there to mailbox features like legal hold, in-place hold, retention policy. We understand what they are for and then when to use them, right? And we talk about delegation again, send on behalf of, and full permissions and when it comes to mailbox management in Office 365. And finally, we're going to be looking at configuring auto replies and forwarding. Yes, auto replies and forwardings and mailbox rules, right, in Microsoft 365. Then, if time permits us today, we'll look at a few labs to help us, remember and then put, more visual kind of put a kind of visual, to all the theory and the talking that we have done so far. So I'm just going to go straight in. And one of the first thing we should know is why manage mailboxes in an effective way or effective manner, right? Okay, so wait, okay. Now, there are various reasons why we should do all of this. A lot of organizations that deploy or go to Microsoft 365 need to have some form of guidance or some form of processes or flow on how they manage resources within Microsoft 365. Mailbox in Office 365 or Microsoft 365 is very, very critical. Take, for instance, when a user leaves an organization, what do? You should know that you don't just remove license from a user's mailbox. Doing that is going to delete the user's mailbox, and you not restoring that user or reassigning license back within 30 days, it means that user is going to lose his mailbox permanently. So take, for instance, if it happened to be a key user within the organization that has spent years in the company, and just because the user maybe left or something happened, that important user is no longer in the organization, but then somebody have to pick up from where he stopped. The person should be able to have access to previous conversations from their clients and all of that. But because you have deleted Mailbox and it took the new person a while before he came in, the emails are gone. Now you are in trouble. So those are part of the reason why you want to know and understand the best ways to manage mailboxes in Microsoft 365. Proper mailbox management improve also, not just because you want to preserve the content of a mailbox, but also for compliance sake, for security sake, and also for the purpose of collaboration, right? And then it also helps you to reduce what we call clutter. That's optimizing your storage and ensuring emails reach the right people, right? When it comes to email clutter, reducing email clutter in Microsoft 365, it has to do with situations where you have to set up anti-spam so that not so much spam gets to the inbox of your users, and you are able to stop those spam emails, send them somewhere else before they get to your user, and they don't just go to your user's inbox and fill up the space, for the users. So now, just to put a kind of view to this, right? Let's assume you have customer service team that needs to handle incoming email in a very effective manner. They are a team. Every team member have their own individual mailbox. But what happens when an email is sent to a member and other members are not in copy, and that member is currently on leave, cannot attend to the customer, and is very urgent, or the customer is really, really angry about a service that we have deployed, yet other people were not aware. Only one person is aware. So in that case, you might want to create a shared mailbox, configure the various policies to kind of share a copy of that email either to other members, right? That's just a little apart from the fact that you want to preserve the mailbox of a user within an organization, right? So now let's take a look at the different type of mailboxes that we have in Office 365 again. Now, the first one we're going to be talking about is the user mailbox. A user mailbox is personal to you as a user. It's owned by you. Nobody else have access to it. For somebody else to have access to it, then you have to give them some level of permission. That is where send as full mailbox right or permission comes in, right? Or you give a user just a subset of your mailbox. Maybe you want them to manage just your calendar for you, or just your contact. You can actually configure rules, to give that right. But when we talk of user mailbox, it is personal to you as a user. and it stores information like your email messages, store contact items, it store calendar items, it store task, list, and what have you that you can send, share or save in your user mailbox. Now, in an organization, these user mailboxes are the most common mailboxes. Just like you're going out of M365 now, your Gmail, if you look at it, you are the only one that have access to that Gmail, nobody else. And that Gmail's mailbox is actually your own personal user mailbox. So likewise, in every organization, each employee in an organization typically has one mailbox to themselves. Now, as they have mailbox, those mailbox have a certain quota in terms of storage that is allocated to each user's mailbox in an organization. And the key point to remember here is this, that in Microsoft 365, a user or an individual user mailbox require a license. You must assign an Exchange Online license to a user in Microsoft 365 for that user to be able to log in, to be able to access, send, and receive email and make it personal to himself, right? You need a user license. And if a user leaves the company, if you don't remove the mailbox from the user, right? If you don't remove the license from, the license instead of mailbox, if you don't remove the license from the user's mailbox, that mailbox remains there, probably inactive. It will become inactive over a period of time if nobody is using it. So in that case, you need to know when to search your environment to know that a user has left the organization for a while, and you need to know what are your policies in terms of, can you just proceed and go and delete a user's mailbox or remove the license? So depending on your own organization's compliance requirement, right? And then you have here, these are few use cases, a regular user mailbox or employee email account. For instance, we have John Doe or David.dome, right? That'll be Rome. David Rome, as we saw just now that we log in into his mailbox. David Rome at chavi.com.ng. And you can have a contractor or consultant that needs to use email. Because you are running a project, you don't want your project information to go out of your environment or your organization. For you to be able to preserve all project documents, you want to create an internal a mailbox and assign to that contractor or the consultant that they will use, to receive email and send email within your organization. Then we have business managers and executives having their own personal email, even though they can now give certain form of permission to their PAs to help them manage the mailbox. But every single person have their own personal mailbox within an organization. So the second type of mailbox that we'll be talking about is the shared mailbox, right? Shared mailbox are very useful when multiple users need to manage the same inbox. And unlike user mailboxes, right, they do not require individual Microsoft 365 license. Unless you require more than 50 gigabytes of storage, or there's a need for you to archive that shared mailbox. If it is for every shared mailbox, you have storage size of 50 gig. Now, if anything come up at all, and that mailbox grew more than 50 gig, and you need to increase the size, you have two options to increase the size. One is to assign a license to it, right? And two is to purchase an archive license and assign to it, then you'll be able to extend the size of that mailbox. Recall that for standard primary user mailbox, depending on the plan you are using, it can be 50 gig max, and it can be 100 gig for the primary, while archive can be unlimited or share the part of the 50 or 100 gig. So depending on the license plan that you're using. So as we said again, it does not require it does not require please. It does not require a license to use. And for users now to be able to access a shared mailbox, each individual user that you are giving access to must have their own license. You cannot access a shared mailbox without you, a user that want to access it, not having a license. You must have a license, right, to access it. But the mailbox, the shared mailbox itself, does not require a license. Now, for users to be able to send and receive email using a shared mailbox, you have to assign the permission. This permission, send as and send on behalf of, or send on behalf of, to a user that have access to that shared mailbox. So for instance, we can have 5 users in a team that have this shared mailbox that sharing. It could be this customer service team, it could be the sales team, it could be the HR team, right? But you want a situation whereby when an email come into that inbox of that shared mailbox that you are all that the team are sharing, you want a situation whereby a user, at least one user, is able to reply to the sender, right, based on what the content of the email is. So in that case, you will assign specifically either send as. And like we said, when you assign send as to a mailbox, what happens is when the user log in and send an email, the recipient will see the email, does not know that is another user. So Titi want to send an email to an external recipient as Oyimafu, right? Titi will sit down, log into our own personal email. Because you have given send as permission to Oyimafu's mailbox, Titi will just sit down, log into our own personal email, draft the email, but before sending, it goes to the, let me bring something up quickly. Goes to, so this is an email. I'm drafting the mail I want to send. And by the time I want to send, you notice this from button is enabled. Yours might not have this arrow, but mine have the arrow because I have multiple mailboxes configured in my Outlook. So I have to drop down and select which mailbox I want to use. But because I've never sent as that shared mailbox before, what I need to do is to say other email addresses. Then I type Oyimafu, right? Oyimafu, type Oyimafu's email. You see Oyimafu at Hashem, let me just stop it. Oyimafu at M365 Nigeria NG, is it NG? Yeah. Nigeria M365, M365 community.com, right? And I'll click OK. It's trying to check because that domain, that email address does not exist in this Outlook. So it might fail. It will fail rather if I go ahead to send it. But this is the process by which I will change which email I want to send from from my Outlook. So in that case, the user is just selecting. Now, the recipient received the email. They don't know whether it's Titi that sent it, but they know the mail is coming from Oyimafu. So that is the way the send as is work. Now, when you use the send on behalf of option, that is different, right? That one will specify by the time I receive the email. Let me look at this. Opening close Outlook. Let me see this for instance. Okay. Now, this email might have been sent by a user who have access to this no reply or is sending from application. Now, when that email gets to me, because the user have the send on behalf, when the email gets to me, I will see Titilope send on behalf of Titilope on behalf of no reply at. That's what I will see. So me that I'm receiving it, it's obvious to me that it was sent on behalf of Oyimafu. That's the way send on behalf works, right? So now, one other permission that you can give to shared mailbox is full permission. Now, the fact that somebody have full mailbox permission, please take note. The fact that you have the full mailbox permission does not mean you can send as or send on behalf of. So you have to, even though you gave a user full mailbox permission, the full mailbox permission is for the user to be able to open the shared mailbox, read the email from it and all of that. But for him or her to be able to send us and send on behalf of, you have to add that specific permission or special permission to it, in addition to the full mailbox permission. So moving on, the third type of mailbox that we'll talk about is resource mailboxes. Now, what are resources? Resources can be a projector that you use or people rent, or in your various conference rooms within your company, you don't have a dedicated projector for each room. So anytime people need to use each of those conference rooms, they have to retrieve the projector from whoever is in charge of that projector. We have noticed a trend. We notice, like every Monday, sales team while sales team want to have a meeting, they need the projector. We saw that the technical team also come and ask for the same projector. We don't have multiple, we have just one. So now there's conflict. How are we going to manage to ensure that when one person wants to come, he can check and see that, the projector is not free. He can check and see. Sorry, please, can you mute yourself? Thank you. All right. So now it will look like Oyimafu, sorry, I'm talking about room and shed and equipment mailboxes, right? Now, equipment here now is representing the projector. So if there is a way for the sales team or the marketing team or IT team to go into their Outlook, check the calendar of a particular room projector and see whether somebody is currently using it, I think it's going to be really great and prevent or stop the conflict issue that will cause, fights at some time within some organization if it's not well managed. So that's the way equipment resource mailbox work. For room mailbox, like I said, you have conference rooms. Maybe you have just 2 conference rooms. And there is one that the CEO always use most of the time. Now, the other one that is available, every other group or team or department in the company have to make use of that one. That means they have to know when they are scheduling a meeting. not to conflict or schedule the same time for each other. So this is another use case for the room and equipment mailboxes, right? So all the user have to do is to go into their Outlook, search, try to book a calendar. When you try to book a calendar, you call out the room or the equipment mailbox, and you can see the free time and the non-free time or conflicting time of that particular resource mailbox, right? So those are the two common resource mailboxes that we have. We have event space. Event space is still like a room. We have projector, and then you have meeting rooms, right? Or conference rooms. And that's the second type. The third type of mailboxes are the archive mailbox. Archive mailboxes, they help to keep the primary mailboxes clean while ensuring that emails are still accessible at any time by the users. Remember, we say user mailbox is personal to you. Archive mailbox is also personal to you. Now, resource mailbox is not owned by an individual person. It can be seen, searched, and used by anybody within the organization. But archive mailbox work hand in hand with with either user mailbox or shared mailbox, right? And what it is doing, like I said again, it helps clean the mailbox up. So let's say, for instance, you have a primary mailbox that is 50 gig storage size, and then you have a primary mailbox that has been allotted to you. Archive mailbox that has been allotted to you is also 50 gig. That's a total of 100 gig. Now, your primary mailbox is getting filled up. And if it filled up, you didn't enable archive for, even though you have the storage available to use, it was not enabled for that mailbox. It gets to a time that you will not be able to send out email anymore or receive email anymore because your primary mailbox is filled up. So what some organizations used to do is the primary mailbox is filled up, they will go into their mailbox and start deleting emails. Except those emails are not important. It's not advisable to just start deleting mail just because you want to create some extra space in your mailbox, right? So the best approach of managing that is to configure archive mailbox for the user. And when you configure the archive mailbox, before you can enable archive mailbox, you have to configure archiving policy, or we call it retention policies and retention tag. Retention tags are will be like, okay, how many how long okay, what type of retention are you creating? Is it for inbox? Those are the tags. You are creating a tag for the inbox, you are creating a tag for deleted item, you are creating a tag for other folders, right? Now, what is now you need to add an action or a policy on these tags. What are the policies that you are adding? Is to say, look at the mailbox. Any email in the mailbox or in the inbox, for instance, that is older than 5 years, move it to archive. So what that policy is going to do is this. It's going to look at the email. Let me bring my, let's bring this up and sugar. I need to hand to roll it up. Okay, so now you have a tag. Tag one, the tag says inbox. Inbox, right? Now you will need, what will happen to the inbox? What will happen to then you have policies. You have policies. So for inbox, you say 5 years. 5 years, move to archive. Then you can have other folder. Others, there's others, but that others represent other folders, right? And what will happen to that also, I want to apply you can apply the same 5 years, move to archive. Now, you might have delete. This delete is going to be applying to, the policy that will be applying to this is saying maybe 30 days. 30 days. 30 days delete. You can either delete or to move also. Right. Now, what happens is if you delete any item, when you delete an item today, or you deleted an item, let's say you deleted an item in today is going by 30. Today is 30th. You deleted an item on the 1st. Item deleted on 1st of March. Right? Now today is 30th. Today is 30th. What will happen is this deleted item, based on what we have configured, whether it's 30 days delete, it means once I put an item in this deleted folder, once I put an item, it check how long ago was that item deleted. It was deleted on the 1st. Today is 30th. That make it 30 days, right? But it need to be a 31. That means by action will happen by tomorrow is what? By 31st. 31st of March. So tomorrow, this item that was deleted on the 1st of March will be removed, will be permanently deleted, depending on what we have said. But this one now, so which means you will never see an item that will be 31 years old, or 31 day old. Likewise here, you will not meet an item that is 5 years and 1 day old. So it will always remove on the next day after that day expire. That's the way retention tags and policy work. So the same way, if we have configured archiving policy or retention policy and apply it on the mailbox, it will look at the content. It will always review the content of the mailbox to know if it has matched the policy created, and it will move the content from the primary mailbox or primary inbox of the user. It will move it into the archive mailbox. And that way, your primary mailbox space will reclaim the space, while the archive mailbox will be growing, will be increasing in size. The primary mailbox will reduce in size. The archive mailbox will increase in size. That's the way archiving policy or archiving mailbox work. It helps your user to keep the mailbox clean. And one key benefit of the archive mailbox is the ability to auto expand. So what do we mean by auto expansion, right? In M365, you have primary mailbox. If you are using E3, E5, you have your primary mailbox at 100 gig, right? 100 gig, 100 GB initial, right? Now, once you reach maybe 90 something gig and you have enabled archive, what also the archive mailbox is also 100 gig initial, right? Now, the primary mailbox will not grow beyond 100 gig. It will always move the content, right, into the archive mailbox. Now, let's say the archive mailbox is now full. It has reached this 100 gig. What it will do, or what auto expansion do, but you have to enable this. What auto expansion do is every day it will add, is it every day or every 10 days or so? I have to confirm that. But it will keep expanding it by 1 gig. 1 gig, even if it's daily, it will add 1 gig every day to increase it. Add 1 gig. It will not add a chunk of another 100 gig on top, just like that. It just expand it bit by bit or as the need arises, right? As the primary mailbox is moving content into the archive, there's not enough storage, it will add 1 gig extra, add 1 gig extra. That's the way it works. So organizations have to implement email retention policy for most of the time. Archive also help you to meet compliance and regulatory requirements within your organization. So now, the other mailbox that remain that we didn't talk about is the group mailbox, right? The group mailbox, you have the Microsoft 365 group. That Microsoft 365 group, what it does is it creates a mailbox for you, mailbox of 50 gig in size. That's every email that is sent to that group is stored in that particular group mailbox. However, there are different types of groups. The only group that have a mailbox in M365 is the Microsoft 365 group, right? You have, to just a refresher course, we have group types. Group types, we have distribution group. Distribution group. We have security group. We have Microsoft 365 group, M365 group. Now, the only group that have a mailbox is this. There's a mailbox here. Every other one does not have a mailbox. If you enable email on a security group, it becomes what we call email security enabled group. It's a security group that you use in giving permission, but you now enable email on it. That means every member of that group can receive email. But is sending the mail, this and this, is sending the email directly to the user's mailbox. Why this? Send the email to the group mailbox. However, you can subscribe. You can subscribe the user, subscribe for each user, to get a copy of the email directly in their inbox. Right? You can subscribe to this, but what it's doing is sending a copy to, it will keep a copy here and send a copy to the user's inbox directly, so that the user does not all the time have to go to this group mailbox to go and view the content. You can easily see when there's an email that has been sent to the group directly or right from his own mailbox. So that's the way group, Microsoft 365 group mailbox work. Now, let's talk about other features of mailboxes that we have in Office 365 or Microsoft 365. Like I've said earlier, organizations often need to retain emails, right, for compliance purposes or for easy access. So now when it comes to compliance or way to keep email without any issue, you have what we call litigation hold, right, and in place hold. Those two help to preserve emails within an organization. Then you have the retention policies that help to automatically either move the email content to the archive mailbox or delete the email once the retention period has elapsed, right? Like the case of when an email is deleted, wait for 30 days, after 30 days, delete it, right? Then there's also what we call auditing. So in the case where maybe you gave certain permission to a user, in the case of manager, executive, and their PA, or it might not be in that case, it might be in the case of, oh, we want to know what IT is even doing. Is he just because he or she have rights to the back end? Does he just go into the CEO's mailbox and go and be scanning through the type of emails or the content in that email? So you can enable to get insight and see what is happening, or even the users themselves deleting content from their mailboxes. You can not only mailbox, this applies to it applies to any resource in Microsoft 365, whether it's SharePoint, Mailbox, OneDrive, and Teams, and so on and so forth. So you can enable what we call auditing. So auditing will help you to see what is happening within a user's mailbox. Did the user delete the mail? Did the user delete documents? Did he edit? And all of that. Auditing can tell you what they are doing. Remember, in identity management, Active Directory, you have the Active Directory fulfilling three roles. The role of identity, that's identify, then it authorize, and then it audits, right? It audits. So you can do the auditing on mailboxes as well in Microsoft 365. So now let's look at closely litigation holds. Like I said, litigation hold ensures that all mailbox content remains intact, right? Even if a user deletes the email or attempts to empty the deleted items folder. This is especially useful, right, for organizations that must comply with industry regulations or preserve evidence for legal matters, right? Litigation hold, it means legal holds. That's simply put, it is legal holds and can be used during investigation. So you use it to preserve the mailbox content, even if the user deletes the email. The emails are not permanently deleted. You can retrieve it for legal purposes or for investigation and compliance requirement. And you can configure this from the Microsoft Purview Compliance Center, right? Then here, users at any time, once there's a legal hold on a mailbox, users cannot permanently delete items from the from their mailbox because it's currently on hold. Let me see. I think I have something that might be able to give you some insight to maybe the flow, right? I'm just going to get it for us. No, 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 not that. Oh, sugar. Okay, just give me a moment. Let me call it up. Oof. Okay, so I have this, right? I have this diagram. This is the entirety of a user's mailbox. The user mailbox have the inbox, and you have other folders. Other folders are maybe you created some folders to receive certain messages from certain type of users or set of users, right? So this is your mailbox, and your mailbox is broken down into various compartments, right? Into various compartments. You have your inbox, you have your other folder, you have the deleted item folder. Those are the ones you can easily see, right? When you go to your Outlook, you can see already from your Outlook, you can see your inbox, you can see your other folder. Let me go up. I think I have quite a lot of folders created. See, these are other folders. They didn't come by default. I had to create them, right? And you can see your deleted items, right? Deleted items. When you delete an item from the inbox or any other folder, it comes into this folder. Now, the moment you carry this folder and delete the content from this deleted item folder, what it does is it moves into this recoverable item segment. It moves into a folder called deletion. Right. Now, if you can actually go into this location to go and recover what you have deleted. You can either recover or you delete permanently. Okay. So if I go to deleted item folder and I want to here, okay, let me come back here. Here, I can just quickly restore the item, right? I can quickly restore it. But the content I want to restore is not here. Then you see this hyperlink. Recover items recently removed from this folder. I can go here, or I can select this button, recover deleted items from the server. Okay, if I click this, it's going to open another compartment for me. And this is the place where I can either select these items and restore them, or I can purge it. If I purge it, to my own eye, I will not have access to that. I can't recover that item that I've already purged. I can't recover it again. Right. Okay. So now, if a user goes into the deleted item and say the recoverable item location and decides to purge, you will see the deleted items, right? As we saw it now. Now you can choose to restore it or you can choose to permanently delete it. When you permanently deletion means you purge it. Now when you purge it, you can't recover it again. It's gone. So now looking at this diagram, from the first one, messages are delivered into your inbox or the subfolders that you have created. Now, when you delete a file, an email from either inbox or other folder, it moves into the deleted item folder. Okay? It moves into this location. Now, if you delete anything from this deleted item folder, it moves into the deletion within the recoverable item. If you go into the deleted item folder and you click to purge, right? It moves from this folder, it moves into the purge segment of the mailbox, right? Now, by the time you want to recover, or if there is any legal hold, please remember, let's say, okay, let's come back to this place. Let's assume that the entire mailbox is on legal holds or is on in-place hold, either legal or in-place hold. So now that you have, it will stop you from deleting, it will be deleting, but because there's a hold on it, is going to bring it into this purge item folder, right? It will never delete it permanently because there is a hold on it. How will you now retrieve it, you as an administrator, from the purge folder? You need to run e-discovery. When you run e-discovery goes into the purge folder and retrieve that email for you, right? Now, within the e-discovery, when you are configuring it or you are configuring in place hold, you also have to set how long that hold is going to be for. So the system will continue to look at the calendar to see how long is being held. If that retention period is reached, it will release it and permanently delete it. So you have option to hold the content or the mailbox for a period of time or hold it indefinitely, right? If you hold it indefinitely, it will never be deleted. But if you hold it for a period of time, once that time elapsed, it will release the email and they will be permanently deleted. So that's the way litigation holds. That's the way it works. Okay, going back into the, now the next kind of hold is the in-place hold. It's similar, right? It's similar to the litigation hold. Now this one, what it does is it gives you a kind of selective approach compared to the litigation hold. Instead of keeping all email content, it targets only specific content based on the filter, like sender, or use keyword or use date range, right? That is what litigation, you can do that. But for legal hold, we keep all the content. While in place hold, litigation hold will keep all the content, while in place hold allow you to keep just a subset, right? A subset of the content of your mailbox using either keywords or sender. You can use some things to define what and what you want to keep, either from a particular sender or that contain a particular keyword, or that's from certain date to certain date. You want to keep those, you want to hold on to them, right? Now, an example is you have an audit team. Audit team they have come and they want to investigate whether any employees shared confidential data about an upcoming merger that is happening in the organization, right? This audit team now, they are coming to you. So instead of placing the entire mailboxes on hold, they apply you apply an in-place hold with keyword that says merger or keyword that is relating to merger. Then once you pick that, you ensure that only relevant emails are preserved in that case. So it's only preserving email with regarding to that relates to merger or that have a keyword called merger. Without that, it's not going to. It can also be a case of fraud. Maybe there's a fraud case and they want to investigate it. The legal team now are the one coming. The first one was audit team. Now it's the legal team that is coming to request for information about a particular fraud that has happened. So take, for instance, we heard recently of a fraud that happened at First Bank or so, right? Or in certain bank, right, in the country. And legal representation could come and request for transactions that happen within the period of time that they were talking about. Or the moment the management had a wink of something is going to happen, they can put a legal hold or in place hold on the people involved, their mailboxes. Okay, so that's how in place hold works. Now, let's now talk a bit more about retention policy. Retention policy, what it does is to automate email storage management. That's the primary thing, email storage management. And it ensures that organization is able to retain or delete email as per business requirement or based on regulatory requirements. Okay. So if it's business requirement, business can say anytime a user leaves the organization, depending on the type of user, but then just keep the user's mailbox for a period of 6 months, or keep the user account for a period of 6 months. After 6 months, if nobody make a request to any content of that user's mailbox, permanently delete it. That can be a business case. Then there can be a regulatory requirement case where for healthcare, for instance, you are not allowed to delete patient records until it is 7 years old. After 7 years, if the patient did not come back, you can, or there's no referencing from any other hospital to your own hospital to get that data, then you can delete the patient record. It's not only for, this does not only apply to organization. It can be a case in an organization where HR department must keep employees related emails for a period of 5 years. Now, after 5 years is elapsed, the email will be automatically deleted, right? That's another scenario. Now, when we now talk of the type of policies that we can create retention policy. What it does is to keep emails for a defined period. We can create deletion policy. What happens is it deletes the email after a set period. I will refer again to the case of we create retention tags for inbox mail. We create retention tag for deleted email. If emails are deleted already, it means they are not used. They are not needed anymore. So instead of allowing you to keep for the deleted item to fill, just hold some storage of our mailbox, we can create a policy to delete the email after a period of time. Then retention policy plus deletion policy. So this retention policy can also be set for a period of time, and after that period is elapsed, it deletes it. That's why you have a combination here, right? That say, move the content of the mailbox to archive, but after 5 years, delete the content from archive. Any archive email that has been more than 5 years in the archive mailbox, maybe delete it, right? You can do that, okay? Next is now, or what we'll talk about now is the mailbox auditing. In what situation or what we warrant need for auditing? If you look at this screen, if you're able to see it very well, you notice that a user called Michael he deleted messages from his deleted item, right? It's not only, it doesn't apply just to only mailboxes. It also applies to documents. I'll give an instance. Sometimes a client of ours called and said they needed to, they notice, some users when they are leaving, they just clear their computer. Like you don't see any trace on the computer, official computer, that you don't see any trace of the fact that that employee was in the organization. And because they sync their devices, or they sync their file to OneDrive. The moment you delete the file from the system, it automatically deletes from the cloud. So they noticed that trend, and they had to implement auditing. And by the time, there was a time they got an alert that somebody was deleting excessive, he was just deleting and deleting. They have to look at it and call the person's attention. What exactly are you deleting? Even though you can see it, if you go and open each of these activities, you can see what they delete. You can see it and then call their attention to it. So what mailbox auditing does is it tracks user activities within a mailbox, right? It logs email access, deletion, permission changes, and logins, right? So if a user is not support an IT person because they have access to the Exchange Admin Center, he just went and go and give full access, go and give full access to himself and quickly attach. He will record it, even though he did not log in to go to portal.office.com and log in with a username and password. He will record it that you access a particular user's mailbox. It will be recorded. So if audit team requests for audit log, they'll find that information from it. So it helps even security for security investigation and compliance monitoring, right? And this can be configured from the Microsoft Purview Compliance Center, right? So to move on from here, we'll quickly talk about delegation and permission management. Like I said, we did a bit of that last year or in our beginner class. Now, sometimes managers need assistance to be able to send emails on their behalf, or teams need to share access to customer inquiries, right? Exchange Online will give you the various delegation permission, and you can have this again, send as permission, and then you can also have send on behalf of, or you have full permission, or you create a subset of permission for just calendar. That person, there's what they call trustee, and the trustee uh, uh, the trustee is the person that you are giving or that you are assigning the permission to. So let me just go to the next this thing, which is the send as permission. Send as permission is very useful when a person or team needs to send email using another identity. So we have info, for instance, and info receive the most of the email, but there are times maybe an important email is sent to the info, and you need somebody to be able to reply to the customer. Or you have the case of service delivery team that have their service delivery email. It's a group email that people send email with regards to organization services. Somebody needs to be responsible to reply that email. And because it's a group email, you created a shared mailbox, for instance, just because you want to preserve or reduce the number of licenses that you have to pay for. So in that case, you will assign a send as permission for a user to be able to send email from that particular mailbox. Now, we send as permission again, the recipient won't see who actually sent the message. Like I said earlier, if Oyimafu gave Titilope right to send as Oyimafu, if Titi send email as Oyimafu, the recipient does not know that it's Titi that sent the email. They are seeing Oyimafu to be the sender of that email. Okay? A perfect example here again is the case of the CEO, right? That is assistant, rather, executive assistant that is sending email on behalf of the CEO. Is sent as, because I say on behalf, don't miss it for the send on behalf. The assistant is sending as the CEO. So people are seeing, all the business partners, they are seeing that is the CEO that sent the email. They are not seeing the actual sender. Now, it can be a case of support, right? And you have a single support email, and you have different teams within the organization that make use of this, not just IT. So you have to give a few people to be able to send as support and reply to customers' support requests. Okay. Now, the other thing is the send on behalf of. I've already explained this as well. If you assign send on behalf of to a user, when the user sends, the recipient sees send on behalf. This keyword is very important. The recipient will see it. They will see this send on behalf in the sender field, right? But unlike the send as that they don't see, this one is very transparent. You can see that it's not the original user that sent it. It's somebody that sent on behalf of that person. And you will see the name of the person who sent it, right? And this can be configured from Exchange Online or through PowerShell, okay? And then example can be a sales team that uses a shared mailbox like sales at company.com. Then each sales team member have the permission to send, or they send proposal from this email address, but client can see the individuals sending the email. So this is a perfect example. The sales team have sales at the company's email that they are using, right? And now, if customer A requests for proposal from team member A, if they are using the send as, there is no way customer A will know that it's team member A that is sending this based on their discussion, right? So in order for customer A to be assured, rest assured that is team member A that is sending, you use the send on behalf. So sales will send, but on behalf of the customer, team member A, right? Or team member A is sending on behalf of sales. So vice versa, the customer is able to see that, oh, it's my person that sent the email. That's the way send on behalf of work. Then the send, the full permission, like I said, is ideal for assistants or support staff, right? Who need full control over the mailbox, but they should not send emails unless explicitly granted. Remember, I said, even when a person, a user, have full mailbox permission on a shared mailbox, or the PA has full mailbox permission on the CEO's email, it does not give him the right to send. He will not be able to send if he want to. If you try to send, you will be getting error message that says you do not have permission to send from this mailbox, right? So in that case, for that person to be able to send, even though he has full mailbox permission, you need to explicitly grant send as or send on behalf permission in addition to the full permission that the user have. And this can also be done in Exchange Online or via PowerShell, right? The user can read, he can delete, he can move emails, but cannot send unless explicitly granted a separate send as or send on behalf of permission. I hope this information are clear enough for us to be able to distinguish all this. Now, one other feature in Exchange Online is the fact that it allows you to configure auto replies and email forwarding to manage communication during absences, right? User can set rules to automate email sorting, ensuring efficiency. Okay, so looking at automatic reply, in what instances will that be needed? One of the use case is a user have left the organization. A user left the organization and you need to communicate. Let's say a salesperson left the organization, and in order for the customer not to continue calling that salesperson, you have to find a way to inform the customer that, oh, salesperson A is no longer with our company. You can reach out to so person instead of salesperson A. That way, if salesperson A even want to play some kind of fraud game or something and call customer that, oh, I'm calling you regarding this money that you are owing, you have not paid, and however you want to do it, whatever, or to steal that customer away from the company to another company that the person has gone to. So it saves such situation. The customer is aware, or you are no longer working for so company, and you shouldn't be calling me again, right? Because you are no longer there. So that's one of the use case, right? That you will warrant an automatic reply to be configured on a mailbox, right? Another use case is when an employee is going on leave. Maybe let's say, even if it's short leave, the fact that you won't be around to reply to your customer or attend to them, so that somebody else can be able to attend to the customer in your absence, right? You will configure automatic reply is out of office. You configure it, and once a customer sends email, you can configure it to say, oh, I'm away, I'll be back so day, right? But if it is urgent, you cannot wait for me to be back, please reach out to so person. Okay. Now that's another case of setting automatic replies on the user's mailbox. The other thing you can do is you can also auto forward, right? You can also auto forward. I'm going to be away. Maybe I don't want to tell the customer that I'm not around. Especially maybe a project is going on and the customer does not want to hear. You have some customers like that. They don't want to hear that my key person or the key resource on the project is away. And things will happen that will warrant the person to be away. It could be health issue, it could be urgent family matters and all of that. So what the individual user can do, individual can do this and admin can also do it. What the user can do is to go into his own inbox and create a rule and say, any email that comes to my box for so or from so customer, forward a copy, right? Forward a copy to so and so group or persons. However, administrator can also do that by going to Exchange Online, pick a mailbox and set the forwarding, or create a rule. In this case, we will create a forwarding rule that says any email that comes into a particular mailbox should be automatically redirected to another set of people. This case is very useful where a salesperson has left the organization also, and instead of giving people maybe access to the salesperson, multiple people salesperson, access to that salesperson's mailbox, you just go to Exchange Online, create a rule, and tells Exchange that anytime email comes from that for that user, it will just automatically redirect it. It will redirect it to another person. So this redirection, the email is not delivering into the person's mailbox, is forwarding it directly to another person. So if you go to the original recipient's mailbox, you will not see those copies of email there because it has been redirected to another person or another group. Then you can forward to one person or multiple persons at a time. And now, when you are doing forwarding, if you didn't use rules, you just go to the mailbox of the user and click forward, then put the email address. You have option to say, keep a copy of the forwarded message in the original mailbox. So in this case, a copy will be forwarded to who you say is to forward to, and another copy will be kept in the user's inbox. So I had an instance some time ago where a user had two email addresses because he happened to be operating in two of the organizations. Now, in two organizations that are on the same tenant, right? They now have multiple domains. So the user have mailboxes on two domains. Now the user have now requested that can they merge his mailbox to one? But an administrator went configure the new mailbox that the user wants, the domain, the primary domain, configure it as a primary mailbox. The second mailbox, what he did, or let me say, no, not that way, is the reverse. The email that is not so important, right? The person set it that email should be the primary for the user. Now, the second one that the user wants, they now configure forwarding. Instead of working it in a way that the mailbox is merged together, they rather converted one to shared mailbox and was forwarding email. Now, when this correction was now reversed, the user noticed that emails were not dropping in his primary mailbox that he's supposed to be having. But after investigation, we realized that the other one has forwarding, and it said there was no copy kept. That's why the user's mailbox is empty. That any email that comes to that particular email address, you get forwarded to another email address that the user does no longer have access to. So we now have to correct it by exporting the content from one mailbox and importing it into the current mailbox of the user. So that's a case where you want to ensure or confirm whether a copy should be kept or none should be kept. Okay. So another thing, like I said in the previous email, a user can decide to create forwarding rule for themselves, or administrator can decide to enable the forwarding or configure the auto response by themselves, a bit from the backend, right? So now you can actually create rule to either forward or for automatic response for the user. To do this, you can automate or the rule, mailbox rule majorly. There is the one they call server client rule and server rule. Any rule that is created by the admin from Exchange Admin Center is called server rule because you created it from the backend. And any rule that is created by the user from their Outlook themselves is called client rule. Okay. So there are times you might have met a situation, or in case you meet it in the future, so we can know a situation where a user called and said, somebody has been sending me email and we have not received it. I've not been receiving it, and they've been saying they've sent it over and over again. And you ask, do you have any rules? Say, oh no, I don't think so. The email is not dropping. And you went to trace from Exchange Online and you realize the email was dropped into the user's mailbox. Though Exchange Online message trace will tell you the folder it dropped the message. So you can go back to the user and say, you created a rule that says email from this user should be always be moved into this other folder, and say, no, I did not. Okay, can you go into your Outlook? Let's go together and you check, and you realize all email that the person has been sending is inside that folder. And you can hear a user saying, wow, I did not know the time I created it. I can't remember configuring this one. I can't remember setting it. But it happens, and they forgot that they've set it. So that's something that you can look out to if you have a call that says, somebody is sending me email, I'm not seeing it. It could be a case of mailbox rule that has been created by the user and he has forgotten that he created it. Now, if you have, let's say, for instance, maybe in a case or other case that it can be useful is a help desk mailbox that automatically auto-assign priority labels, right, based on subject line. You ask either it should be forwarded or it should be moved to a particular folder in Outlook. So we'll see all of this when we are doing our lab. And most of this configuration can be done from the admin center or GUI, and they can also be achieved from the from the what's it called? From PowerShell. Yes, from PowerShell. So I think we are done with all the talking, and then we have to show and tell. Right? Let me check if we have questions. Okay. Please, what is the difference between a PST folder and archive folder? A good question. Now, a PST folder, I don't know, there's no folder called PST. However, archive is saved in PST format. The format archive mailbox, if you say, let's say, for instance, you want to export. Let's say you want to export. Not sure if I'm supposed to be using this Outlook here like this. So, okay, let me look at something I can pull up. Okay. Just going to go. This is for sugar. All right. I think I can use this, right? Let me end this. Though before I end, I'll come. Before I end, coming back. But these are a few things that we're going to be doing. We'll create different mailboxes and check some of their properties and archive, right? And then we'll configure litigation hold on the mailbox. From what I'm seeing, we can't finish everything today, but we'll see if we can finish one at least or two and continue the rest tomorrow. Then we'll assign again, send as tests. If I have full mailbox permission, can I send just to confirm? And finally, we are going to set up out of office and email forwarding, for us. So I'm just going to escape there and come back here. Okay. Now look at this email based on the question you asked. I'm trying to answer your question first. This mailbox, for instance, if I go here and say open and export, this from my Outlook, open and export, right? Then I'll click this import export. When I click it, now it's going to ask me, I want to export, just so that you see, I want to export to a file. But the type of file you are going to export to is PST. That's what's the full meaning of PST? Say? Yeah, I will look for it later. Okay, so I'll click next. Okay.
Next.
And sorry, someone want to help me? Oh, okay, I can continue. So now I said I want to export to a file. What type of file do I want to export it to? Comma separated value, that's CSV, or PST, right? I've selected PST. I'll go again. I made a mistake to double click. I'll select Outlook data file, PST, a .pst file. So it will come out in .pst format. While your standard Outlook, this Outlook, your standard mailbox, or primary mailbox, let me open a file, the location. You need to be able to locate where it is stored. As originally, I'm going to go into my C, and then I'll go to C program file, program data. Let me see, C program data. Program data. Okay. C program data, and I will look for Microsoft. Open this, and I will look for Office. This not here. Wait, I think I'm missing it. Microsoft. No. Is it program data or program file? Wait, hold on. Just quickly. All right. Give me a sec. Whew. So, yeah, I'm going to find it from my computer. It's supposed to be program file or program data. Not this. Okay, yes. No. Let me go back to this location, C, and users, say TT, and then program app data. Yes, it's app data, not program data. Yes, app data. That's the part. See user, the username, app data, and you go into local, right? When you go into local, you have here, you have Microsoft. Inside Microsoft, we have Outlook, right? You open Outlook, your standard, if you notice this file, notice this, OST. This is your Outlook file, your primary mailbox file, right? So if anything happened and you lost access, you can copy this file and use a tool to convert it to PST so that you can get the content out. But as it is like this, you can't access it. It's only through Outlook that you can use to access it. Now, if the server is lost, you can't access it. The only way you access it is to use a third-party tool to convert it to a PST file, right? Now, you see this other file is called PST. Any file you see like this is the archive, and it is created by exporting this export that we want to do. And I click next, right? And I select, this is the mailbox. You can either select, choose either subfolder or filter by selecting the folder you want to. Let me leave it as this. Select the root. It's going to export all the emails, all the items. Then I click next. Then I'm going to save it to a location, right, where I want to save it. And I click replace duplicate in case I'm importing into an existing or exporting into an existing file. Then I click next and click finish. It will do the export and save it in a .pst format. Now that PST format, I can come to Outlook and attach it. Open and close. I click import export again. Then I'll click import from a program or file. Then I click next and I select PST. I click next and I will browse to the location of that file, right? Oh yes, I even have a few PST archiving. So this is the local PST creation or archive creation that you have done. That's what is showing in .pst format, and you attach it. If I attach this one now, let me see something small. If I attach this and say open. Now, as I say open, oh, sugar, what am I doing? Okay, that's fine because it's stored in OneDrive. So it will first download local before it starts. Then I can click replace duplicate item. It will check and replace what is already there so that it doesn't create a duplicate. Then I click next. And after clicking the next, it's going to ask me where I want to import it to. Do I want to import it as a separate folder, or I want to import it back into the inbox itself? Or so if I select this, right, and I say import item into the same folder, it's going to import all the content of that item, or that PSD file. It will import it here. So it will not create any other folder at the end. But let me say import into current folder. You will see this. It will create something here, a folder here, right? So I say finish. Where is it? Where did it go? Okay, I guess because the content is very small. That's why it's not showing. But you will see it, just like you are seeing this group, seeing this, you will see a folder, you see email folder or data file or data folder. You will see it here. That's your archive folder. Now, this is also a folder, but this is from online. This one is pulling directly from the server each time you want to review or access the content in it, right? So there's really no folder per se, as in to say folder, there's really no folder per se. However, the file you are exporting, if you export manually, is coming in .pst format, while the archive mailbox is your archive. Archive mailbox, that's other mailbox I showed you just now, is archive. You will always see it as online before the name of the mailbox. Online archive before the name of the mailbox, okay? I hope I answer your question. And can a shared or group mailbox be created with a password? Group mailbox does not require a password. However, shared mailbox, you did not hear it from me. Okay. Now, I think there are some people that have been able to. Now, when you create a shared mailbox, it creates a user. Let's look at it. Where is my mailbox? Okay. Okay. Here's my mailbox, right? If I go to Exchange Online, let's see if I have a few shared mailboxes, right? I will go to mailboxes and then we'll check. Oh, good. We have this mailbox here called shared mailbox. Says team. Then it might be for group. Let me see if I have any other. I don't have any other. Okay, I have. I don't have. I only have one, right? I'll check it. Now you see this sales team. Let's go and look for it. Let's go and look for it here. Okay, it's a user mailbox, right? Let's open it. It's a user mailbox. You see that it doesn't have license. Normally, you should not be able to log into it because what happened is, if you see the account itself, is in a disabled state. This account created under user is in a disabled state. So user cannot log into it, but you can actually enable it and set password for it, right? I've not done it before, but I heard someone said it's possible, right? So I don't know, but I think it's a possibility. So does the user mailbox share mailbox as its own archive? folder or the entire organization share a single archive. No, 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 no. Each user, okay, Udo. Sorry, I can't pronounce the first name. You have your hand raised.
Can you hear me?
Yes, but it's slow.
Okay, you were to ask a question before you continue with the second one.
Okay.
Where you just show us now regarding the sign-in, block sign-in. I saw there's a place that was shown sign-in for that mailbox. And you just said, someone said you can enable that sign-in and someone can sign in.
Yes, you can enable. That's what
Don't know
I'm
whether I
saying.
got you right.
You can,
Okay,
yes.
so
But
then at that
like I
point,
said, I've not done
okay,
it before. But I know
okay,
I've
but
heard you can.
I want to ask, can someone with that shared mailbox use that to okay, that shared mailbox, does he has E3 license that they can install a Microsoft product like Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint, and the
No, no,
likes?
no, no, no. No, no, no.
Okay,
Because it
because
does
it's a
not have
good.
a license. For you to run
Okay.
Microsoft Excel, Word, and other application, you will need a license that have that's a application also. If you go to let's select a user that have a license. Sorry, it's too far. Okay, I'm just going to pick a user. Okay, this guy, Bruce Willie, have a license. Now, if you go to the license page of the user, licenses and apps, you will be able to see this license have plenty features. Now, you see apps under here. If you expand the apps, you'll be able to see the individual licenses that is attached to that user. This Exchange Online. If I remove this, you will no longer be able to access his mailbox, right? Now there is Office. For you to use Office, to install Office, you will need, where is this Office app? Where is it?
Make you no be among say no go wan carry money alone for there.
Who is that?
He say make you no
Tr-
be among you no go wan stay
Right.
alone there.
well,
Let me
for
read
whatever
you.
reason, I'm not seeing Office
Ah,
desktop, but is here. Probably I'm just moving too fast. Office app for enterprise. Yes, here. Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise. This is your Office. Word, Excel, Outlook, this is it, right? However, the user will be able to use Office for web. That means if he's accessing that mailbox on the web browser, he will be able to use open Word document, he'll be able to create Word document, but he will not be able to install a copy of it on your computer. You will need a license for you to do that. I hope I answer your question. Now, the next
Yes,
person,
yes, but I want to ask, can see that shared mailbox, can that shared mailbox be, be created as a profile on Microsoft Outlook app?
can you come
Or will
again?
it, since it's a shared mailbox, can it be added as a profile on Microsoft on MS
Outlook.
Outlook app, or it
Yes,
would only
yes.
be added? Okay, okay, okay.
No, you can. So now,
Okay.
because if you have given a user, let me see if I have any shared mailbox here. Not really. Don't have. These are individual users. Now, what happened is once you give a user full access, when you give a user full access to a shared mailbox, what it does is it automatically attach the account, the mailbox, as you will see it here, like just like you are seeing all these ones. You will see the mailbox here. It automatically attach it or mount it on the Outlook of the user, right? So yes, you can add it. Okay, and you can also set, I think you can also set it that it shouldn't mount it if you don't want to. Now for, does a user have, does each user mailbox share mailbox as its own archive folder, or the entire organization share a single one. No, 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 no. Each user that you enable archive for have their own. So if you notice what I have here, let me expand it a bit, right? If you notice here, this is my primary mailbox, and this is the online archive. This is also personal to me. So it's personal to every user. Every user have their own, right? So you are not sharing, they don't share archive. It's per mailbox. Every mailbox have their own archive mailbox dedicated to them. Then does each user mailbox share mailbox as its own archive? I think it's the same. You paste it twice. Yes, posted this twice. Okay, I think PST mean personal storage table. Thank you, Chibuna text. Then is it possible to export a user mailbox from the Exchange Admin Center? Yes, it's very possible. Now, for you to do from Exchange Admin Center, no, sorry, you can't export from Exchange Admin Center, but you can use the Compliance Center or Purview. You can go to Purview to export the email using Discovery. You use e-Discovery, you export the email, and then you download it. When you download it, it comes in PST format, okay, but not from Exchange Admin Center. That cannot be done. Then what is the maximum size for auto expanding in the archive? Now, let me confirm the auto expanding archive auto expanding size. To expanding size is what? I need to be sure whether it's 2 gig or is 1 gig or 10 gig. I can't remember whether it has been increased recently, but I think it's 2 gig. Okay, so when it gets to 100 gig, right, it starts increasing by the additional storage is where are you? Okay, I think I'm seeing 10 gig here. 10 gig. Yeah, it's 10 gig. Okay, so I'm seeing 10 gig here. It's not so, wait, hold on. Supported only for mailboxes used for individual or shared with a growth rate that doesn't exceed 1 gig. Oh, no, it's not 10 gig. It's 1 gig. 1 gig per day. Every day. Once a mailbox hits 100%, right, at the 100 gig, right, you start adding extra 1 gig every day. So I've shared a URL with you. You can read it up and learn more about it. I think, say, can the admin have access to read users' email in the organization? Actually, the answer is yes, right? The answer is yes, but you cannot just outrightly start reading. You need to assign, if you have to read a user's mailbox, you have 2 options. One is have their username and password, right? Option 2, which means either they are aware, definitely they release their password, they are aware that you are reading it. Option 2 is to give access, either that's permission, mailbox permission, to give full mailbox permission to yourself on that user's mailbox, then you can view it. So for instance, I have my account is Titi, right? Let me open my own mailbox. I'm opening my own Outlook. Then this is David. I'll click David's mailbox and I can go to delegation, right? On the delegation, I give myself full access. If I give myself send as, I will only be able to come from here, pick new email, right? Create a new email and enable the, I need to enable the from button, view, is that option again? Enable the from button. Okay, option. So from option, I'm going to more option. Where is it now? Check. Let me drop this. Okay, let me drop this ribbon down. I go to option. Yes, option. So I can do show from. So if I give myself send as, I will only be able to change the email address. It will not attach it, right? If I give myself send on behalf of, the same thing apply. But if I give myself full mailbox permission, what it's going to do is to attach for me. Though it does not, I have to wait a few minutes before it appears. So I have to wait for like 5 minutes for me to see the mailbox. So it will mount here. Like I show you from my Outlook, you will see. That's from Outlook, you will see the folder, right? You will see it open as well. So now, the lab will be tomorrow. Just let's take, okay, I think a compliance admin can, yes, access, grant access, can admin access. So that's one way, right, to do it. The other way, compliance admin, you have to, you can't just, because you have compliance admin, you can't just click a user or try to log into user's mailbox. No. For you to do that, you have to go and run discovery to get the content you want to. All right. Oyimafu, you have your hands up.
Yeah, yes, ma. I want to especially thank you on behalf of the mentees. Yeah, yes. So I don't know, maybe next weekend, ma, we can continue with the labs full time, ma.
Yes. I'm done for today. We'll
Okay,
continue
ma.
next week. Yes.
Okay,
Continue
ma.
next
Thank
week
you.
by God's grace.
Thank you very much, ma, for the section. It's really insightful, ma. Really insightful, ma. Thank you,
Thank
ma. And
you.
happy,
Thank you
happy
all for your
Mother's Day to
patience.
you. Thank you, ma.
You're welcome.
And those
So,
celebrating Salah, happy
sorry?
celebration. No, actually those celebrating Salah. I wishing them
Oh,
happy celebration.
yeah. Please, can we have tomorrow, class tomorrow, please? Tomorrow is probably, no. Bright. Now we are so itchy. No, sorry. We didn't plan for tomorrow's class. Let's enjoy the holiday, right? Considering that our week is always very busy as IT. So let's enjoy the holiday. Thank you. Thank you all very much for listening and paying attention. So we'll continue for the class, or we'll continue with lab next week. See you by next week. Good night from my side.
Good night, ma. Good night, everyone. Thank you, ma.